So this is a shorter exercise, but it's really about tuning, in a particular tuning that I think can be really useful for songwriting. It's very, very simple. It's standard tuning the whole way, except for one note. So we've got E, A, D, G, B, and then E flat. So if you wanted to, you could go up to the 4th fret on your B string instead of the 5th fret to make the E. You make the E flat. What I find this tuning is good for is these beautiful open chords that have this sort of very dreamy feel. And but the key is not to, you don't bar the whole thing. You just play. You allow these two strings to always ring out. So for instance, so you can practice with that for a while. This chord shape is a bit tricky because you're stretching over here and you have to get this finger down here and then this one on top. Sometimes if you have really big hands, you can do it with your thumb, but mine aren't big enough. Well, I guess that worked that time. Anyway. I do think playing chords like this, as well as playing in different tunings, will it'll just help the dexterity in your fingers and help your fingers move into difficult places. And even in the open E, it sounds great. Try going up the neck even further. What I'd also say about this particular tuning is you know, even if you're really used to playing in standard tuning, just changing things by one note, even this is just 1/2 step. You know, we've kind of created this whole new chord languages, I guess you'd have to say, or ways of playing chords that you wouldn't otherwise be able to play in standard tuning. And I think that's a really good thing to do, even if you're in a very familiar open tuning. Changing one note, maybe from a major to a minor. Let me give you an example of that. So right now I'm in Dadgad. So D, A, G, D, A, D. And lots of people, this might be their first open tuning. It might be something they play some Celtic music in. That's, I think, where I first heard it. This is kind of an interesting exercise. This sort of very minor medieval feel to it, but that can be limiting. Even in itself. So instead of D-A-D, G-A-D, I'm going to tune the G down to an F. So now that I have a true open chord, I have a true open D minor. It could just, you know, I haven't really written anything in this, I haven't really written anything in this tuning, but, you know, just the tuning itself is sort of inspiring. You know, just big, full, open minor chord that's deeper than like an E minor chord, which would be a whole step up from it. So that sort of shows you how, if you're familiar with one tuning, just changing one note, or one string, I should say, or one note of one string, however you want to use the terminology, can really open up different possibilities and just, you know, be inspirational in and of itself. If you're trying to write something and you're not quite sure where to start, you might just want to you know, step out of the box that you're familiar with. That's always what I've done in terms of, you know, getting some inspiration. If I just don't have it, I'm thinking, you know, my fingers are so familiar with different chord shapes or different things that I've figured out in a certain tuning. You don't have to go too far out. You can just change one string, and all of a sudden you're sort of in a different place. So that's my lesson on changing one note tunings.